if you've paid attention at all to cardiac health, you've probably heard of something called a stent. Now, some of them are dissolvable. And here to talk a little bit about that is cardiologist Dr. Vishal Gupta from Borgess Health Park in Battle Creek. Good morning, Dr. Gupta.
Good morning, Rick.
Thanks very much for your time today. Let's, in case somebody doesn't know, what is a stent?
Well, stent is actually something that we use to open up heart arteries. People have blockages in their heart arteries that causes chest pain, angina, heart attacks, and we have these metal mesh tubes, which we take it to where the blockage is and open it up with a balloon, and it acts like a scaffold that keeps the artery open. And it's normally made up of metal that we've been using for the last 15 to 20 years.
These have been successful, haven't they?
They have. While we didn't have the technology for something else, I mean, these have proven to be very successful. People who have it, definitely there is no reason to worry about. I mean, they've been used for about 20 years with extreme good success and good outcomes and good overall excellent improving in quality of life for people.
Okay. Now, the notion of a dissolvable stent suggests that maybe we don't need them forever.
That's correct. Whenever you have a blockage in an artery or a clogging, once you have opened it up and kept it open for, several days or months or about a year, and if you were to remove the stent, the artery conforms to the shape that it was put in for a while. That's how human body is.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you stretch something, you depress something, body takes that form. So really what we need the stent is for a short period of time so that it can take that form, and eventually, unfortunately till now we couldn't take the stent out, but with this new technology, the stent actually dissolves and it disappears. So, the artery becomes normal again, it starts to function normally, and it actually becomes slightly bigger than the original artery. So it's definitely a big advantage, especially for younger people. We have so many patients. In fact, the first one that I put in at Borgess, and we are, by the way, Borgess is the only place in Southwest Michigan that is doing this kind of stent. So, you probably won't be able to get this therapy in a lot of hospitals. It's only been a limited release in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first patient that I did, he was in his 40s, and he was already getting a stent. Now, you can imagine if, by 50, by 60, if he has more stents, there's only so much space in the artery that you can put a stent in. There are other disadvantages that these stents can clog up, even though a very small number, but it can happen. In that case, you can imagine if there's a stent that dissolves, you can go back and put another stent in if need be.
That's incredible. So why wouldn't we want a stent to stay there?
Well, that's, as I said, once a stent has done its job of scaffolding and opening an artery for a certain amount of time, then the artery conforms to that shape and it becomes bigger. So then it's done its job. So, if we had a technology to pull the stents out, I think it'd be reasonable to pull them out and the artery remains open and, stretched open.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't collapse as we think, the arteries normally do. It does not collapse that way.
Do you
really?
Do you meet some people who say, "Yeah, but just to be sure, let's leave it there"?
Truly speaking, I mean, patients do come and ask, are you going to take this out sometime? Or when they come back in and say, we tell them, hey, you have another blockage within the stent. He's like, oh, are you going to take this out and put another stent in?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we have technology where we can put another stent within a stent, but that we can only do so many times before, the arteries are so tiny that there's only so much metal they can take.
So a dissolvable stent then is made of what? Is that metal too?
It's very interesting. It's not made up of metal.
Uh-huh.
It's made up of polylactic acid. This is a chain of lactic acid. We all have lactic acid in our body.
Sure.
So it's a polylactic acid, but the technology that Abbott Medical has gone into putting in this stent, that it is stiff enough that it will keep the artery open, and it is not it doesn't dissolve right away that, the artery will collapse. So it dissolves over a period of 2 to 3 years, and after 3 years, it almost completely disappears, leaving the artery normal as it was before the blockages.
That's incredible. So if folks are listening to this and someone is dealing with heart issues of this nature, they can get more information from Borgess, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so ring up the Borgess Health Park and ask about what Dr. Gupta is talking about, and tell them you want more information on dissolvable stents, and they'd be glad to do so. Dr. Vishal Gupta, thank you very much from Borgess Health Park in Battle Creek.